I'm Michelle Campbell, 62, living in a rundown apartment in Springfield, Massachusetts, where water drips from the ceiling like it's mocking my life. I was a teacher, sacrificing everything to raise Melissa and Samuel. After my husband died at 43, I wore hand-me-downs so they could have new clothes, paid their college tuition without a dime of debt. But now, I'm invisible. Melissa posts on Instagram, bragging about the house she bought for her mother-in-law, Patricia, calling her Mom P, while I struggle with a leaking ceiling and medical bills from a hip replacement. Samuel only calls when he needs a loan, then vanishes. I call the landlord for the 5th time, getting a vague promise. Maybe next week, the plumber will come. Each drip into the metal pot is a hammer to my self-worth. Looking in the mirror, I see a tired old woman, gray hair, eyes full of crow's feet. But in those eyes, a fire smolders, whispering, I deserve better. One rainy Tuesday morning, as the autumn downpour battered my apartment's window, my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar Boston number. I picked up, expecting a telemarketer, but Michael Abernathy's professional voice from Pearson, Abernathy and Klein stunned me. I'm calling about your brother, William Campbell. William, my brother, who I hadn't spoken to in 20 years, who sided with my ex-husband Thomas during our painful divorce, had died of pancreatic cancer. But the real shock, he left me his entire estate, a Beacon Hill townhouse, investment portfolio, art collection, worth $12 million, about $9 million after taxes. I laughed, a dry, disbelieving sound. There's got to be a mistake. We haven't talked in decades. Abernathy insisted there was no error. William revised his will 8 months ago, after his diagnosis. He left a letter. I agreed to meet Monday, my mind reeling. William, who I'd buried in my memory, was offering me a new life. At their glossy Boston office, I felt out of place in my second-hand coat. Abernathy handed me a thick file. The townhouse worth $5 million, blue-chip stocks, bonds, 19th century paintings. But William's letter made my hands tremble. Michelle, cancer clarifies everything. I was wrong about Thomas, learned the truth, but was too proud to apologize. I saw your kids take everything from you without giving back. This inheritance can't fix our past, but I hope it gives you freedom to live without begging for love from those who should give it unconditionally. Use it wisely, little sister. William. Tears rolled down my cheeks. He'd seen it all. Melissa's fake family photos online. Samuel's silence, unless he needed cash. He'd tracked my life through clippings of my teaching awards, the poetry collection I published. I stood before the 5-story Beacon Hill townhouse, red brick and black shutters, feeling like I'd stepped into William's world. Polished oak floors, Persian rugs, a curving staircase. It was beyond my imagination. In his study, I found albums with articles about me, proof he never forgot. That night, I slept in the guest room, too intimidated for the master suite, my mind spinning. This wasn't just money, it was power. I met Amara, William's financial advisor, who outlined the portfolio, stable stocks, bonds, high-yield ventures. You've got about $9 million after taxes, she said. I asked her to hold everything. I needed time to think, but when I opened my phone, seeing Melissa's post, the house for Mom P, with comments like amazing daughter-in-law, and Samuel's empty promises to repay a $2,000 loan, the fire in me roared. They see me as a bank, not a mother. If they want money, they'll pay with the attention they never gave. A plan for revenge, not blind, but calculated, began to form. I settled into Beacon Hill, hiring cleaners, buying tailored clothes, dyeing my gray hair auburn, looking a decade younger. In the mirror, I saw a strong woman. Not the worn-out mother I'd been, but the pain from Melissa and Samuel lingered. Melissa's Instagram post about Mom P and Samuel's silence after borrowing $2,000 were wounds that wouldn't heal. They didn't know I'd left the old apartment, didn't notice I was gone. What do they think I am? An ATM? In William's study, with his letter before me, I plotted. I hired Rebecca Lynn, an estate planning lawyer. I allocated $7 million to the Michelle Campbell Fund for Educational Equity, supporting poor students. $1 million for my personal needs. $1 million split evenly for Melissa and Samuel, but with strings. They had to call weekly, visit monthly, attend holidays to get $50,000 a year. Miss 2 quarters, and their share goes to the fund. Past loans, $47,000, would be forgiven if they signed. I want to teach them a lesson, I told Rebecca, my smile cold. I called Melissa, mentioning the inheritance and new house. You're in Boston. That's amazing, she said, her voice dripping with fake warmth. Samuel called soon after, offering to visit. Both were hooked by the money, as I'd predicted. I hosted a lavish Thanksgiving dinner, roast turkey, Wedgwood plates, antique chandelier. Melissa brought lilies, flowers I'm allergic to, and Samuel hugged me warmly, a hollow gesture. When I mentioned the inheritance and a lawyer meeting, their eyes lit up with greed. I want you both there, I said. For what's right. They agreed, thinking they'd hit the jackpot. After dinner, they went to a hotel. I lied about the guest rooms being renovated. In William's study, sipping expensive scotch, I knew the trap was set. Post-Thanksgiving, they followed the trust's rules, like puppets. Melissa called Sunday nights, Samuel Wednesday mornings, their small talk awkward, about weather or work. I replied politely, knowing they were acting for the cash. I attended galas, charity events, welcomed by Boston's elite for my wealth. But each night, I felt empty. This victory wasn't the joy I'd expected. It only exposed my kids' fakeness. Melissa and Samuel kept calling on schedule, but their voices were strained, like they were reading a script. I lived like a queen in Beacon Hill, attending charity galas, exclusive dinners, but the smiles around me were aimed at my money, just like my kids' attention. Each night, in William's study, I sipped scotch, rereading his letter. Freedom to live without begging for love. I had financial freedom, but emotional freedom. My revenge plan only highlighted the rift with my kids, healing nothing. 2 weeks before Christmas, Rachel, Samuel's girlfriend, showed up unannounced. Snow melted in her hair, cheeks flushed from the cold. Samuel doesn't know I'm here, she said, sitting in the living room. I broke up with him last night. I saw how he talks about you, like a chore for the money. Melissa's drinking more, stressed about pleasing you. Your plan's working, they're miserable. But she warned, this win doesn't heal anything. It just hurts everyone more. She suggested a middle path, to hold them accountable without ruining any chance of reconciliation. Sharing her foster mother's words, hurt people hurt others, but healed people heal others. Her words hit me like a punch. I reread William's letter, realizing I'd become a tyrant bank, trading affection like my kids did. I was trapped in the pain I wanted to escape. To clear my head, I went to Aspen for Christmas, staying at a luxurious resort with spas and 5-star dining. But among wealthy families exchanging pricey gifts, I felt lost. New Year's Eve texts from my kids, "Happy New Year, Mom," were hollow, scripted. As the fireworks faded, I knew I couldn't go on. Revenge wasn't freeing me, it was caging me. On January 1st, 2026, I called Rebecca from Aspen, demanding changes to the trusts. Big changes, I said. Back in Boston, I met Amara, reviewing the Michelle Campbell Fund. 5 students got scholarships, their thank you letters brimming with dreams. You're changing their lives, Amara said. I nodded, but knew for my legacy to be whole, I had to resolve things with my kids. I prepared for the January 15th meeting with Rebecca, my mind clear. Rachel's words and William's letter showed me freedom isn't in revenge or money, but in letting go of expectations and living true to my values. I didn't want naive forgiveness, but I also didn't want to keep controlling my kids, trapping them in a fake relationship. I wanted to set us all free. In the meeting room overlooking the Charles River, Melissa, Samuel, and Charles arrived, weary, expecting another trap. Rebecca handed out documents announcing behavioral conditions are removed. Melissa and Samuel will receive $250,000 immediately and $500,000 after Mrs. Campbell's passing, regardless of your relationship. Melissa paled. You're just letting go? Not letting go, I said, my gaze soft. I'm freeing us, you from pretending to love me from the illusion I can buy your affection. Samuel asked why, and I explained, because it heals nothing. It just prolongs a fake relationship where we're all prisoners. I want to live true to myself. Samuel admitted he didn't know how to stay in touch without a financial motive. Then let time answer, I said. The door's open, but not with money or threats. Any relationship now will be based on real feelings. They signed the contract silently, avoiding my eyes. Rebecca left, and Charles asked, so we go our separate ways. I grabbed my coat. That's up to you. I'll be in Boston, living my life, building the fund. If you want to be part of it, it'll be your free choice. At the door, I turned back. I hope one day you understand why I did this. Not to hurt you, but to free us. Outside, winter sunlight bathed me in gold. I smiled, feeling true freedom, not from revenge or money, but from letting go of expectations. My fund is changing poor kids' lives. That's my real legacy. William gave me a chance to break the cycle of pain, to say, this is who I am. These are my values.